Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Citizenship and Accountability Understanding Citizenship in Nigeria webinar. The webinar is being organized by the Rule of Law and Empowerment Initiative. We are also known as Partners West Africa Nigeria P1. My name is Nkem Okereke, your moderator for today's session, and I'm excited to welcome you all to this wonderful conversation. Remember to use the question mark icon if you have questions or contributions, and we can take it from there. Last time we discussed and learned, amongst many things, who a citizen is under the Nigerian law, the importance of understanding one's citizenship status, and how Nigeria's citizenship structure compares to what is obtainable in other countries. For today, we shall continue on this discussion with two guests who are seasoned legal practitioners. One of them is Mr. Hamza Suleiman Mashegu, who is a seasoned legal practitioner and public sector administrator with over a decade of experience in criminal justice administration, legislative drafting, public sector governance, regulatory compliance, and dispute resolution. He is currently the Assistant Chief State Counsel with the Niger State Ministry of Justice. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Hamza. We also have Mrs. Nana Hauwa Isah, who is also a lawyer, civic educator, and human rights advocate with extensive experience in governance and citizen engagement. Thank you for joining us, Mrs. Nana. I think we can start the conversation with Nana. So Nana, still on citizenship and accountability. What responsibilities do you think citizens of Nigeria often neglect?
Okay, thank you. I actually like this question because most times when we talk about citizenship, it's usually what the state can do for us, not recognizing the fact that citizenship is a two-way street. And it's not just about what the state gives, it's also you as a citizen, what are you expected to give in return? Some of the responsibilities, or rather duties as couched under the 1999 Constitution that is being given by, is being entrenched in Section 24 of the Constitution of the duties and duties of the Nigerian citizens. However, how couch it is that as a citizen, we should not, when you have like some of the responsibilities that you have as a citizen is issue of like accountability. You should be able to hold not just yourself accountable, but also the governance, the people that govern you have to also learn how to like hold them accountable. So it's your responsibility. It's not just about casting votes. After vote casting, when governance is going on, are you part of the discussion? Are you part of those that contribute meaningfully to the society? Because as citizens, we have responsibility to make sure that for the common good of everyone, that we contribute our own quota. And when I say contribute our own quota, is that as Nigerians, when the normal thing we see, when we're having like private discussions, we mumble about, we don't like what's going on in the governance, we don't like what's going on in the country. But the question is, what are you as an individual contributing to make the country better? Because Nigeria is a collection of people. Nigeria did not just happen to be what it is today by action of one individual. It's a collection of the action of one person, each individual coming together to form what we now have as an identity. If we say we as Nigerians were not happy with like maybe corruption going on, we should ask ourselves within our own community, within the little sector that you are handling, even if you are just what is called local government school teacher, within that sector, what are you also putting into Nigeria? Do you go to work early? Do you do you stay the number of hours you're supposed to put in as a teacher to teach the student diligently? Do you put that in? Then when you have opportunity to serve your people? How have you been able to like execute this? These are some of the things that we should look at as citizens, because when you say you're a citizen, most times we look at what is the state offering me, what is my country offering me, but we don't ask ourselves, what are we also offering our country? So as citizens, we have the duty of what? Duty of care to the state itself. That means not to vandalize public property, to honor the our national treasure, which is the national anthem. When the national anthem is being said, you see some people during football matches or basketball matches, you see some people when they're singing or reciting their national anthem, they actually do cry. Why do they cry? It's because they feel, they identify so much with the wordings, as in they have a deep sense of belonging to that country, that they are even moved to tears just by singing the words. But in Nigeria here, do we respect our national pledge and anthem enough to even understand what we say, or we're just saying it out of duty? Do we understand what we say? Do we respect it enough? Do we understand the commitment that come with those words that we utter? So those are some of the things that as citizens we're supposed to be responsible for. Then looking at it holistically, we're also supposed to be, we're also supposed to ensure that accountability from even our people that we govern. It's not just by casting vote. At the end of the day, do we organize town hall meeting within our communities? And in those town hall meetings, do we invite the people that we elect, our representatives, to ask them what are the policies that they are being put in place that will affect us as a people? And how can we, what are those budgetary allocations that comes to the community? And what are those projects that is going on within our community? Do we check up on that? Do we like hold our people? I don't think anybody, even I inclusive, has ever like gone to a government parastatal or agency to ask questions. And these are the things that is making us to be where we are today. Because even we citizens, we are not aware of our civic responsibility. We are not aware that we can actually ask questions and hold people accountable. By the time we start asking questions and holding people accountable, and we don't just limit our power to PVC. And one thing with Nigerians, it's not about even limiting your powers to PVC. You limit your powers to PVC, and at the same time, you say there is this underlying, will I say, norm going on that your PVC can be bought. So from grassroots level, we need to create that awareness that it's not just about holding the PVC, the importance of it, and what they can do going forward to ensure accountability and also good governance in their own community. So that way, even those that are being elected or our representatives know that, okay, the people that are being governed are not blind. They understand their rights, they understand their duties, and they're going to hold us accountable. And we as a people, and they as a people have to do better, because these people actually know we don't do better. And it's not just about talking in our own little rooms, in our little teams, in our offices. These are conversations that we're supposed to be having. As we should, I don't know whether most communities carry out town hall meetings. Those days, town hall meetings is a very good avenue to like come together, because when you come together as a group and air your grievances, it holds more power than having individual complaints. So those are some of the things that we as citizens should be responsible for in terms of looking at it from the governance angle.
Thank you very much, Nana. I like your insights. When you talked about countries, where their citizens cry when they sing or recite the national anthem, I was asking myself, how many of us can recite our own national anthem, not to talk of crying, And exactly, so and also brings me to the fact when you talked about how we can go and verify how much allocated how much allocated for a particular project and what the government is doing about it. The question is, do you think this information is readily available for someone like me an ordinary Nigerian citizen?
Unfortunately, no. And that's why I go back to the issue of civic education is very key. So most Nigerians are not aware of their civic responsibilities and their civic duties. Most Nigerians are not aware of it. And that's why we're where we are today. So that's where we're supposed to start from. We're supposed to start from, okay, how do we make the grassroots, even people at the grassroots, because when you're talking about civic education, I are limiting it to those in their offices. So most, when we are talking about civic education and we're limiting it to the elites or the literate members of our community, that means we're leaving out a very large number, which are people at the grassroots. When you look at it, the urban communities are less than rural communities in Nigeria. The rural communities still take the larger part of geography, even people in Nigeria. So how do we make people in those communities to actually know that being a citizen, because most of there was a conversation we're having with somebody from a rural community during one of the sensitization on what is called it, when we're engaging with communities. And the question that we asked them is, why do they sell their votes? When do they know that their vote actually holds power? They're like, yeah, they know that their vote actually holds power, but the reason why they do that is because this is the only time they get to see the people that are the rich, that this is the only time they get to see the rich amongst them. So when they come, they use that opportunity to get as much as they can from them, knowing that after in the next 4 years, they won't get to see them again. And nobody is going to ask them what's going on or what's wrong in their lives. So the little opportunity they get, at least let them benefit from it, even if it is something small. They know that they are benefiting from it. So that is to tell you that they don't know, they don't even understand the bigger picture. That it's not about benefiting now, but they're not looking at the bigger picture that, okay, you're talking about you don't have good roads to lead into your community. You're talking about you don't have light often. You're talking about insecurity going on within your communities. And you're limiting your power to just, okay, when it's time for me to cast my vote. And so we need to start having this conversation, not just among the literate members of the society, even taking it to the grassroots, using the local languages. Maybe you can use drama through radio jingle, because at the end of the day, most Nigerians listen to radio. So if you can start having this kind of conversations on, as a Nigerian, what are the rights on you, what are the rights you have, and the duties that you can also execute as a citizen, I think it will go a long way. And even amongst us, because even amongst us, there is this nonchalant behavior, because most Nigerians today, especially the educated ones, just have this feeling that let me do my own part, let me work hard, earn well, be able to survive myself and my family. And if luck shines on me and I earn well, I can actually take 1 or 2 vacations here and there, and I am good. There's this challenge that, okay, Nigeria is as it is, and there's nothing that can be done. So nobody, even among the literate members of the society, you see that there's no much concern about what's going on in government. As in, how do we hold people accountable? People just let me just hold my own and do what I can do at my own corner. Let me be comfortable, let my family be comfortable. And that mindset is the reason why we're where we are today. So we need to start seeing the country as we need to start having that mindset of collective responsibility towards the country.
Yes, exactly. I agree with you, Nana. I was having this conversation with someone in the office earlier in the week, and Nigeria as a citizen is not what you say, okay, thank God I'm working, thank God my husband is working, at least we can take care of our children, and you now be praying may Nigeria not happen to you. What are you doing to ensure that Nigeria is safe for you?
For all.
You understand? Yes, for everybody. Not that you are working hard. If you are working hard and making money, what of your brother that is unemployed? What of your sister?
Yes.
Do you understand? How do we get Nigeria working? And I know you have also talked about town hall meetings in communities, and of course, it's a way of holding government accountable at the local level. Do you want to talk more on this?
Okay. At local level, when we look at local level, we can start by our local government councillors, chairman. That is even before we get to the government, because I was having a conversation with someone, and the person was like, when there is a problem in Nigeria, the first thing people say is we call the president. Are we aware? The person now posed a question that, are we aware that the president actually allocates funds for some projects to be carried out? Which we cannot deny that it is true. Not even the current president, the past president, the past presidents from, let's look at from Obasanjo, when our democracy became structured. Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, Goodluck, down to Buhari and Tinubu, they all allocate funds for projects. Now the question is, those projects, how were they being carried out? The person that is in charge, what did he do with the money? Did he use it to line his pocket, or was it actually carried out the way it's supposed to? Then even coming down, that moving away from the contractor, the storekeeper that is making sure that the cement, the 1,000 bags of cement that is being brought is there for the work. Is the storekeeper also keeping to his own end? The artisans working in that for that government project, are they holding their own end of the bargain, or somebody is stealing 1, 2 cement, 10 cement, taking out something from the public? So that when you're looking at so what they call it, our problem as Nigeria, we have to start from the grassroots. We have to start from the units, as in one person. What is you as a person doing before we even take it far? So now at local government level, the issue is there is this big wide gap or divide that down here, people don't really understand the power they hold. I believe people also in power, in authority, are happy the way it is, because when people understand the power they hold, then that means there won't be room for misdemeanor. So now at local government level, who organizes the town hall? It must not be an elected representative. It can be the traditional leaders in that community. It can be the youth leaders in that community. All you need to do is to set a date that, okay, we're going to have a town hall meeting. Invite your elected, and when you, in that kind of situation, when you send invite to them, they will surely come. Because there is that fear that, okay, if they keep sending out invites, that we'll be having monthly town hall meetings and you don't attend, it makes the people not to trust you. And tomorrow when you come back asking for their vote, they might not vote you. So there is that, it will be a place where people can have governance, discussion on governance. Even those that are aspiring to become elected representative will also have that forum to say, okay, what they want to do. And not that we will just wait. One thing with Nigeria, that we wait a year to election. That's when we see town hall meetings flying around, discussions going on. But the question I'm asking, after 2023 election, 2024, did we have any town hall meeting to have those conversations within our communities? And when I say town hall meeting, it does not have to be a hall or structured. It can even be in the yard of the traditional leader. It can even be in a religious, what they call it, set maybe after church or after mosque, there will be an announcement that, okay, after church, let's all gather, we're going to have a meeting and the compound. That is, there's always a big field close to churches and mosque. Why not everybody should gather? You can come with your stool and let's have a discussion on where us as community, what it is we want, and let's table this, our concerns, to our elected representative. And we as a people, what can we do to also, what can we contribute? There are some communities in some African countries that I was seeing a documentary the other day that they contributed towards putting in place some basic some basic amenities within their community, to fix bad roads, to make boreholes and all that. So this is because what those people see the need for them to come together and have these discussions.
Thank you very much, Nana. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your comments on this. Over to you, Mr. Hamza. Welcome to this conversation.
Oh, well done, Mrs. Nkem.
Yes. So in some communities, Mr. Hamza, there are some people that have lived in that place for decades, and they are still referred to as settlers rather than full members of the society. How does this affect national unity?
Okay, this is one of the problems that we face today in Nigeria, and I believe that has led to why we're so disconnected, and we don't identify, as in when problem is going on in the south, somebody in the north does not like really feel the need to empathize or fight the cause, and the same vice versa. When something is going on in the north, someone in the south is not feeling the need to, because of that sense of. And I think we covered some of this discussion in the first episode, where I said in the Nigerian constitution, there is so much reliance placed on bloodline. That is, to be a citizen of Nigeria, you have to be a citizen by way of birth, not just birth just based on you are born here, but as in where are you coming from. And it's quite funny because this constitution actually said no discrimination based on based on identity, indigenship, religion, sex, and language. However, the same constitution also make provision for indigenship. And I think that's where our problem is coming from. Until that notion of indigenship is scrapped out, we're still going to be faced with this issue of settlers. Because as a Nigerian, I can actually live anywhere as far as I'm living, carrying out my legal responsibilities, not that I'm moving to another community to go and cause havoc or to be a menace in that community. As far as I'm contributing my own quota as a citizen of that community, I'm supposed to be identified as a full-fledged Nigerian that has all the powers and rights that are being entrenched as a citizen. Because as a citizen of Nigeria, you have right to be what? To stand in and say, okay, I want to be elected into any office. I can even say, as far as you are above the age of 8, the authorized age to vie for any office, you can come out and say you want to be the president, you want to be a senator, you want to be a rep member, anywhere, wherever you are. Well, that is not the case today. Why? Because most Nigerians, we identify so much with, because we are such a diverse community. We have so many languages. We are divided into states. We are divided into languages. We are divided, even among the languages, we are divided into tribes. And you even go to some tribe, they are further divided into clan. So you see someone speaking same language, same tribe, but within themselves, there is still that divide because there is this issue of clanship. Oh, this person is not from our clan, or this person is from that clan, and that clan, they are known for this attitude. So they have no right to come and represent us. So I don't know how we'll get to that, because whether we like it or not, we cannot scrap out our tradition or the what is called it, our culture, our language. But I believe one step is to go back to the constitution, because now the constitution is somehow contradicting. One side is saying no to discrimination based on state of origin and all that, and another one is saying that
talking about
identifying citizenship.
Yeah. Thank you
So
very much.
I don't know how we can, even if we can even scrap it from state level, so that any Nigerian, if you are an Igbo person and you were born, bred, or you have lived your life in Zamfara, you can actually be seen as part of that community who has a voice, and that's one of the issues we have. You see somebody in a different state that can actually put in favorable quota, or maybe make suggestions that will improve that community, but the person will keep quiet because there is that fear, or there is that notion that, oh, I'm just a settler here, I'm not part of them. If I say something, they might not listen to me, or they might not take what I have to say. So to save my head, or to save my so that nobody will say, oh, who are you to talk, where are you coming from?
Thank you very much. It's even also affecting the way we settle there. We might not even want to build our house, even when we have the means to do that. That is because we feel we have not been accepted as full members of that particular society. So I know I was going to ask you if someone can be a Nigerian but socially excluded. From what you have explained, the answer is yes. And the answer again is the contradiction of citizenship and indigenship, if there's an English like that. Apart from this, is there any other thing that can make a Nigerian to be socially excluded in a community?
Okay, I think to take us a little bit back to the provision of the Constitution, because I think that's where most of the problem started. Our ground norm, which is supposed to be the mother of all laws in Nigeria, looking at Section 25 of the Constitution, it stated clearly that once you are born a Nigerian, either by parents of Nigerian origin or your grandparents are from Nigerian origin, just from your last week webinar, it means you are a Nigerian automatically by birth. However, despite this provision, it now gives route for people to become citizen. That's issue of naturalization and citizen by registration. Now, you become a citizen by registration or by naturalization. Ideally, you are a Nigerian, so you ought to benefit from whatever is being benefited by Nigerians. However, that same constitution again gives some certain provision that excluded. I'm going to give some live cases of this exclusion, even at the highest level. For example, under the constitution, section 131E said that only people that are citizen by birth can become president, vice president in Nigeria. Same applies to even governor and deputy governor. You have to be a citizen by birth in Nigeria to hold these offices. Now, this same provision now was tested when the current deputy governor of Lagos State, Hamza, he has been in Lagos, but he has dual citizenship. From our last discussion, we talk about I heard from last webinar, that's issue of dual citizenship, which is guaranteed to Nigerians by birth. However, this man was a citizen in the US and citizen in Nigeria by birth. And some people took him to court. The opposition took him to court on issue of his candidature, that he has dual citizenship, that he can become the deputy governor of Lagos State. The Supreme Court in that particular case, in 12th January 2024, it gave a judgment where it stated that as long as you are a citizen by birth in Nigeria, you can hold dual citizenship. Now, my point here is, if I'm already a citizen, you say, okay, I can become a citizen by registration or by naturalization. Why is it that I can't hold these certain offices? This to me is kind of exclusion. I'm a Nigerian citizen. Yes, I'm a Nigerian citizen, but I can't become a governor of a state. I can't become the president of a state. This, ironically, is kind of contradicting and blocking chances for people that have qualification. If we look at in advanced countries like what we have now in the US and the UK, the current mayor of London, is not from his name and appearance, he became citizen by
Naturalization.
but he got that opportunity because their law allows this thing. But in Nigeria, no matter how, if you are the Dangote of Nigeria, you provided all the amenities, pay taxes, even more than people that are born in Nigeria, you can't hold these offices. This particularly is kind of excluding people from benefiting their title, Nigerians. So we have Nigerians, but we have two kind of Nigerians. By the law that created give people to become Nigerians, this same law divided Nigerians into two. To me, this is discriminatory. Again, if you come to issues of maybe appointment into political offices, in the same constitution, section 147 sub 3 said that for a person to become a minister from a particular state, he has to be an indigene of that state. This same issue came up when the current Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina Mohammed, was nominated from Kaduna by El-Rufai to become the minister from Kaduna State. Some people from Kaduna wrote a petition, went to the president, complained that Amina Mohammed is not from Kaduna State, although her husband is from Kaduna State. That's another irony again in Nigeria, this issue of citizenship and indigenship. Her husband is from Kaduna. She grew up in Kaduna, but her dad is from Gombe State. That's how she lost that opportunity, although Gombe State used that opportunity to nominate her. But my issue here is she's from Kaduna. Her husband is from Kaduna, but because of this issue of indigenship, she lost out that position from Kaduna. She has to go back to her own state, Gombe, to get this. So to round up the whole issue, I think why we are having all this issue of exclusion boils down to economic factors. The struggle for the little scarce economy, and I also think about issue of people seeing it as they're trying to see that maybe settlers are coming in, the settler indigenous issue, because in most of these places where you see this thing coming up, the settlers are usually more successful, either in business, education, or any other thing. So people there become envious of those, and that's why this thing sprang up. You are not from here, you are a settler. I think we have a long way to go in covering this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hamza. I really like how you started it from the root, talking about citizenship and bringing the cases that we have had, both the political cases and other things, and using it to buttress your points. Thank you very much. One last question I have for today is to ask you, what role should civic education play in addressing discrimination and exclusion?
Okay. To answer this, I think this civic education has a very vital role. When I was growing up, I remembered we had a subject called civic. As far back as, though I'm not that old, as far back as the 90s, we have a subject called civic, which was scrapped. I don't know why it was scrapped from our curriculum. As at then, this subject teaches us from beginning. I was in primary when I was having this subject civic, where I was taught from day one how Nigeria came up, just the way we have government in secondary school, the type of government, how we got independence, like that. And it's very good, this kind of education from roots, because one of the problems we're having is people don't like Nigeria as it is now. It's fragmented. People hold on to their region, to their religion, to their tribe more than Nigeria as itself. If you see anything that comes up, someone will say, okay, I'm Hausa, I'm Igbo, I'm Yoruba, before I'm in Nigeria. And that's why we're having this problem. And I think to curb this thing, we have to look at, okay, one, civil education has an important role to play, starting from promoting the shift from indigenous-based belonging to residency-based belonging. This is very important. People should not be seeing that I'm an indigenous. No, I'm a resident. For example, I'm from Niger. If I should go to a place like Enugu and stay in Enugu for the next 10, 15, 20 years, give birth to children in Enugu, when we grow up there, they should be able to say, okay, I'm an Enugu person by residing in Enugu. Not that, okay, my dad is from Niger. Okay, Enugu, I don't care whatever happens to Enugu, let Enugu collapse as can still go. No, it shouldn't be that way. And for us to have this thing, you have to look at things like civil education should emphasize issues like paying taxes, obeying the law, and contributing to communal development. If people will believe that, okay, I pay taxes in Enugu, I'm going back to Enugu example, I pay taxes in Enugu, I obey Enugu, all the laws in Enugu, and contribute. If there is any community development in Enugu, I contribute. By then, I'll start feeling that I belong to Enugu. And the people there should be able to accommodate me when I'm doing all these things. If we can have this all over Nigeria, I think civic education will play that role in changing the mindset. Then again, teaching of constitution. Nigerians generally, they don't know, they just leave constitution for lawyers. If you see people talking about constitution, is maybe during electionary year, when maybe their person from their local government has been denied candidacy. That's when you see people quoting wrongly the constitution. People maybe just look at certain part of the constitution that favors them. But to me, the constitution itself should make into like a curriculum divided into like a subject where from the one from primary school, a part of it should be taught to students down to university, so that everybody should know that, okay, what is in this constitution is not constitution, not for lawyers, it's not for judges, it's for everybody to know, why am I in Nigeria? What does the constitution say about me? And what does the constitution say about me contributing to my community? Thirdly, we have this issue of fostering shared history. This is another key important thing. In our schools, the history being taught, I discussed this with some of my colleagues. When I was being taught in Hausa, the only thing I know I learned about Hausa history is history of Bayajida. Him and the snake he killed in Daura and stuff like that. I learned the history of Odudua. That's not what we want. You should be taught, because even before the coming of Nigeria, there is interrelationship between the Hausa, Yoruba, Edo, Igbo community. That's this interrelationship that existed. Why is it that that is not being taught in the schools? Because to me, asking people to like mingle together now is not a new thing. Before Nigeria came into being, there is this interrelationship, because I believe these societies did not stay in isolation. They've been communicating, trading, and all of that stuff. So why is it that this history is not being taught? I think this is part of where we're getting it wrong. We should bring back that kind of history so that people will know that if I relate with Igbo, it's not a new thing. My great-grandfather has related with Igbo in so way. I can also follow that suit. And through that knowledge, people will learn to know how to tolerate each other. Because I believe the problem in Nigeria is not issue of religion, culture, or anything. It's us personal thing. So if you can change the mindset of Nigerians, Nigeria will be better. Thank you. I think that's how civic education will impact on this issue of
yes. So civic education should not only focus on giving us information, but changing our behavioral, having a behavioral change.
Yes.
Changing the mind of Nigerians right from a very young age. Thank you very much, Mr. Hamza, for that. I really enjoyed this session that we had with you and Nana. That will be the last question for you. And I'm also going to ask our participants to speak if they have felt excluded in a way. Is there any experience that they have to share with us? And I'm also asking our participants to use this opportunity to ask us questions. Someone said, I believe women are more excluded, most especially from the perspective of vying for offices. And I agree. Mr. Hamza, and when she said offices, she meant elected offices, governor, local government chairman, president, House of Reps, Senate, and all that. Mr. Hamza, what do you have to say about this?
To her question, I think the exclusion of women from vying for political offices is, I can't see it doesn't have a background from law. Because if we look at all our laws, eligibility, and other things, the laws don't exclude women from these political offices. Now it comes down to our cultural, religious beliefs, and also people take advantage of that. Because if you look at, for example, if you look at the demography of the election in Nigeria, the last election we had, 49% of registered voters are women, which I believe if you go to any polling unit, for me here in the north, women go to polling unit more than anybody in the north. I don't know of, but I've been to so many states during my NYC, and currently now where I'm working, we go on election observation. We'll notice that women go more to this thing. But now the issue now is, I usually say this, sorry, we have more women here, it's issue of women supporting women. Because if you can go out for election, for example, you should be able to, you have the numbers, issue of challenging, because all this male dominated political issue, because nobody is challenging, you have to ask and demand for it. I'm very happy now that we have this bill currently before the National Assembly of giving special seats for women in the National Assembly, the Senate, and other things. But again, apart from that, women need to come out and ask and demand for it. It's just like nobody's going to give you this seat. So the exclusion is systematic in a way that it is women coming out now to political offices is a new thing for the politicians that we have. It's a male-dominated game, and women are now coming, and they're not comfortable with it. I think that's why they usually find a way of blocking. But legally, there is no any law or any provision in any of our laws that exclude women from vying for any political office in Nigeria. The whole thing is now changing the mindset of people, as I said, using civic education. Let us see that women should be able to come out for these offices. And again, people should be able to vote for them. And those that are already there, they should be able to also make a mark. Because some men have gotten opportunity, and people, I'm just talking about generally, some people are saying, okay, even though men that were given certain offices, they didn't make a difference. So it's the same thing. Men doesn't make a difference, women don't make a difference. So we should continue with the norms. But then if women are getting these opportunities, they should be able to go there and do something different, because the men have been doing it and they are not doing it right. If women get this opportunity, they should go and do it better, so that it will now be an opportunity and avenue for others to come in. That's my take on that.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. Even though, thank you very much. I think my observation will have to be taken outside this call. I don't know. Do we have any other? Okay, someone said you leave your state and marry into another state, and when you seek to be elected, that is when you will be reminded that you are from another state. More so, the issue of being an indigene comes to play. Yes, Mr. Hamza has talked about that, and Madam Aisha sees it as exclusion. How can someone who was born and raised in Bosu local government area still be regarded as a non-indigene simply because they cannot speak the Wagi language? I'm still a living example. Do you want to talk about that, Nana or Mr. Hamza?
Okay. It brings us back to the fact that there is this national identity that we Nigerians have lost. We identify more with our tribe, our state of origin, more than we identify as people, more than we identify people as Nigerian. And that is where the major issue, that's where all this discrimination is coming from. So now, because you are born, I believe that someone born, you're a Nigerian, you have rights. Wherever, it doesn't matter where you are born. The most important thing is that, are you contributing meaningfully to that society or that community? And if you are, all those rights are entrenched to a full-fledged citizen of Nigeria. Someone is supposed to enjoy it. But the reality is not so. And this is what Mr. Abubakar Sadiq is said to have experienced, because he has been born, he was born in Boso, brought up in Boso, which means he doesn't understand any other thing. If you take he might be someone that came from all the way from Maiduguri, but I'm sure now if you are to take him back to Maiduguri, he will feel like an alien there, because some things might not be, the culture, the way of life of the people might not be something he's used to, because he was born and bred in Boso. Is Boso he understands? Is Boso, is the people of Boso he identifies with? And there is something I used to say. I was brought up in a different part from where my my state of origin is from. But the funny thing is, right now that I'm in Niger State, anytime that state where I was bred is mentioned, anything that happens there, I feel that my heart skip a bit. Oh, what is happening in that particular state? Hope there's no problem. Hope the people there are safe. My heart skip a bit more when I hear of something going wrong in that state than it does from the proposed state of origin that my grandparents are from. That is to show you that at the end of the day, our experiences, where we are and where we are currently enjoying, and we relate with the people, we eat there, we work there, has a major role to play in our life, and we tend to feel more empathetic towards that place than any other place. And it really breaks my heart that many Nigerians are being excluded from enjoying social coexistence with others, just by the method that, oh, we identify with you, we like you, we can chat with you, but at the end of the day, there is that underlying message, or let's say feeling, that there is a limit to it, because when all the chips are down, you are not actually from here because you don't speak our language, or we know that your parents are not from here. Even though you speak our language, we actually know where your parents are from. So that is really sad, if I must say.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Nana. And thank you so much, Mr. Hamza, for sharing these valuable insights with us today. Thank you everyone for joining this webinar and participating in this discussion. We hope you found today's session as insightful as I did. And if you found this webinar valuable, please share it with your colleagues, friends, students, community groups, family members, both within Nigeria and in the diaspora. Remember, civic education starts from this webinar. It is also proudly hosted by Partners West Africa Nigeria as part of the P1 Civic Education Series. To learn more about our work, we'll encourage you to visit our website, www.partnersnigeria.org, or follow us on social media channels at Partners Nigeria. Thank you once again for joining us, and do enjoy your evening.